This is my favorite way of making shelves to store dishes, and not just because I'm a hack that hates making cabinets where the doors are all level and even. Well, that's part of the reason. I just find it displays them really well, and when you have guests over, they're not fumbling through all your different cabinets looking for the right dish. So we kind of have this set up where we have the main dishes we use every day, and then a whole bunch of cutting boards. Eat a lot of meat, always need a different size cutting boards for cutting everything up. One of the things I like about this design is it encourages you to have lesser but nicer stuff. Everything's on display, so there's no reason to keep that old plastic spaghetti stained NASCAR plate. As a DIY project, this is as easy as it gets. It's straight cuts, it utilizes the flexibility of the plywood to make sure none of your cuts have to be so precise. It hides the majority of the fasteners using pocket holes, and then uses some low-cost off-the-shelf fasteners that have a nice looking head for the visible points. This kind of design is adaptable for all different sizes of walls, and you can get really specific about the heights of the shelves for your particular set of dishes or cutting boards. The island is too close to the wall for full depth 1 foot deep cabinets. Even though these shelves are only 5.5 inches deep, it gives me plenty of storage on a wall that would otherwise probably only be good for an art piece. This project would work well with any furniture grade plywood. I'm using the most premium version of that with Columbia Forest Products Walnut Veneer Europly. I start by just ripping a sheet into a bunch of strips. Now I know a lot of you will ask for drawings or plans for this project, but I think all you need is just a quick sketch, and I do mine on an index card and I just keep it in my pocket as I build. I cut those strips to length using my compound miter saw, but you can use the circular saw again here, guided by a speed square. My shelves are 5.5 inches wide, and I want to attach them to some 3-inch wide strips so that I can make these long L shapes. I like doing this all with pocket holes on those support strips because those support strips go up against the wall so you won't see them. Now I do use pocket holes on some of the 5.5 inch wide shelves. And here's how I think about this. Technically they're visible, but practically they're not that visible. I mean, if you got up really high and looked at the top, you'd see one. Or if you got really low and looked up and under the lower shelves, you would see a couple more there. But in the normal scenarios of everyday life, you don't see them. And I think that's totally okay for DIY projects. You get to choose your level of time investment relative to the outcome that you want. You don't need a palm router for this project, but I like them to round over the edges. If you don't have a router, you can do this with an orbital sander. You don't need to do a lot of sanding, mostly on the cut edges of the plywood, but I like giving everything a once over with 220 grit sandpaper. Now that those pieces are sanded, we can start making those L's. L's are a great shape structurally because they take two boards that have a little bit of flexibility, and by combining them, you get some nice rigidity on these long shelves. I'm using the pocket holes to screw the support board to the 5.5 inch wide shelves. When you drive the screws into a hard plywood like this, the screw will want to push back on you, so I recommend using clamps to hold the pieces tight together. At these lengths, plywood is flexible, so every time I put the clamp on, I just make sure to line up the edges, and then the screws hold everything in place. These L-shaped shelves are also really helpful when it comes to assembling the final unit. They can sit flat on the floor in the right position, and I don't need complicated corner clamps to attach the side panels. The bottom shelf is pretty low to the ground, so most people won't be seeing underneath it. So I didn't mind using pocket holes there. And when I assemble it on a flat floor, these screws are easy to drive in. I like cutting stop blocks on my compound miter saw to use as spacers to hold the shelves in place when I drive in the screws. I just find this is easier than drawing pencil lines and measuring. Having a positive stop to push the next shelf up against just feels safer, and in my mind reduces the chance for error. This short shelf, which we'll use for sake and espresso cups, is a little tight, so it's kind of hard to get the drill in there to drive in the pocket screws. I wanted my overall shelving unit to be a 56-inch square. If you're concerned about material efficiency and cost, I recommend keeping the width of the shelves to about 48 inches or under. That means you would get 2 shelves out of every 8-foot long strip that you rip down off of the plywood. Even with just a few pocket screws, I can feel the structure start to stabilize. I added in the top shelf, and for these lower shelves, I'm gonna use finished screws right through the edges. Now that means exposed fasteners, which I'm totally okay with, but I'm gonna walnut putty these finished screws, which I don't think is totally necessary, but
kind of felt like it. Now the walnut putty is visible if you look really close, but if you're standing at arm's length to grab a dish, you won't see it. The finished screws give me just enough stability on those few shelves that don't have pocket holes so that I can flip the whole thing over, and now I can access all those pocket holes that are on the support strips. And this is where I really anchor everything together and get a nice sturdy shelving unit. Now before we get into the rails that keep the dishes from sliding off and the finish, let's hear a word from the sponsor of this video, Incogni.
You are online right now, and most likely so am I, maybe just like looking at my phone or something. That's great, but there's also some not so nice people online with us, and that's why I use the sponsor for this video, Incogni. You see, scammers thrive when they get access to our information, and that information has never been easier to get. Our data is constantly collected and sold by brokers, often without our knowledge, and that's why it's crucial to remove our info from these lists, and Incogni makes it simple. Incogni helps protect your privacy by scanning data broker databases, that's a mouthful, for your personal information. And then they submit removal requests when records are found. This can reduce unwanted marketing emails and texts. That removes something really annoying from our lives. And it also lowers our risk in the event of a data breach. It's kind of like having your own personal digital security force. Getting started with Incogni is easy. Just create an account, authorize them to act on your behalf, and then sit back and let them do the work. They don't just do this once either. They'll rescan and resend out fresh waves of removal requests regularly to all these data brokers. This includes those people search sites, which are super creepy. All of this helps improve your level of protection over time. So use the code MODERN in the link below to get 60% off an annual Incogni plan. Once again, links below, and use the code MODERN. All right, back to the project.
I want rails to keep cutting boards, plates, and bowls from sliding off the shelves. I don't need them on shelves for cups, and these I just screwed in through the edge boards as well. I just think it would be a little too tricky to get in behind there and do pocket holes, but you could probably do it if you really wanted to. Rubio Monaco in Pure is my go-to finish for all the woodworking in my house. It's an expensive finish, but I think it's worth it. It's really easy to apply. If the wood gets nicked up, you can do another coat over the top without having to sand it all down, which is fantastic. And it's a low VOC product that looks great. The studs in my wall are every 16 inches, so a 56-inch wide shelving unit gives me a lot of opportunity to connect through the drywall and into those studs. So I use my stud finder to locate them and then move the shelf into position to get it ready to install. I lined it up with the marks that I made with my stud finder and then pre-drilled just a few holes to start with. Just want to get this shelf up and in the right position before doing the full array of fasteners to anchor it to the wall. It's going to be a one-handed screw job, so I made sure to start the screws in the pre-drilled hole prior to lifting it up. I tried setting it up on a couple blocks, but when I slid it over to line up the holes on the shelf with the marks on the wall, they just all fell apart. So my bad for trying to take a shortcut. So I screwed a few pieces of scrap together at the right height, and that just gave me a more stable base to set the shelf on while I drive in those first screws. I got the first screw in, and these are just cabinet screws from Home Depot. They kind of have a brass finish, and I like the way they look. And once that one screw was in, I could check the level, and I saw that I was just a little bit off. So I used some popsicle sticks and that support brace that I made to get it into the right position, held it with my knee, adjusted a little bit more, and drove in that second screw, which anchors it level. The support strips don't just give stability to the shelves above and below them, they're also anchor points where I can screw through the drywall and into the studs. Now you could use wood plug covers if you want to get fancy here, but an easier way if you don't want to see the screw heads is to just use the support strips that are on the lower part of shelves so that the screws will be hidden by the dishes. This is one of the most functionally efficient designs I've ever done, and even though I thought of this as an approach that would be really good for when I host dinner parties, look at how fast and clean it is for just day-to-day usage when it's just me. Look, I really like the artistic vision of some of my projects, but honestly, the greatest joy is when I customize something that just reduces friction on the things that I do every day. Projects like this are giving yourself a tailored fit in your home to your specific habits. There are definitely cheaper plywoods that you could use, and I even think this project would look great painted to either match the walls or as an accent color to stand off against it. Originally I measured all my dishes and I thought I was going to make the shelves a little more custom to these specific sizes, but then I remembered dishes break, especially around Maker Ranch where things can get a bit rowdy. So I future-proofed the design by making all the shelves quite a bit oversized. I've been living in this house for about 1.5 years now, and the shelf is holding up great. This is definitely the area of the home that gets used the most, both by myself and our guests. And make sure you subscribe to this channel because we still got videos coming for this really weird backsplash that we did, all the French cleat shelving we did in the living room and kitchen area, and of course the kitchen cabinets themselves, all made with the same plywood and all DIY-able.